Today, we're going to learn how to make agar. Now, there are a lot of different kinds of agars that we can make. Today, we're going to be using nutrient agar, which is one of the most basic agars that we use in class. The reason it's called nutrient agar is it's actually made from digested bits of animal products. This is what it looks like here. And if we look at the ingredients, it says that it contains peptone and beef extract. Now, beef extract is basically they make soup from beef. They boil the beef and all the nutrients and the vitamins come out into the liquid, and then they evaporate off the liquid and they take the solid parts and use it to make this agar. And peptone is digested bits of proteins. So they take peptone, if you know peptide, peptone comes from that. And so this has a lot of proteins and a lot of nutrients in it, hence it's called nutrient agar. Almost every kind of organism that we use works on nutrient agar. So when we look at the label, it tells us we need 23 grams to make 1 liter of nutrient agar. Today, we're going to be making 100 milliliters of nutrient agar. So you always want to use a container that is twice as big as the amount of agar you're making. Since we're making 100 milliliters of agar, we're going to use a 200 milliliter flask, which we have here. Now, I'm going to take my weighing boat and I'm going to put it on my balance. Now, if you see the balance, it has a weight on it already. So I'm going to hit this 0 button, and that's going to return it to 0. Now, I need to make 100 milliliters instead of 1 liter. I need 2.3 grams. So I'm going to use my spatula and we'll see if we can get 2.3 grams. Whoop, a little much, so take some out. Almost there. There we go, 2.3 grams. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my beaker. And I have 100 milliliters of distilled water. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in my beaker. I'm going to add a stirring bar. Going to put it on stir. So you can see my stirring bar starting to agitate. And I'm going to heat that up. We're going to go ahead and heat it until it starts to boil. And once it boils, we're going to boil it for 1 minute. So we'll let that go. Now you can see that our beaker is almost starting to boil. You can see it steaming, and you can see the bubbles accumulating at the top. So it is at a boil here. So I'm going to turn it down now so it doesn't boil over. And you always want to have something very quick in case you need to grab it. You can see it gets close to boiling over. So I'm turning down the heat, letting it boil. And I'm going to go ahead and take it off before it boils over. Turn off our hot plate, turn off our stirrer. And that's been a minute since it's been boiling. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use our rod. Here we have the rod that's going to allow us to pull out our magnet. That's a magnetic stirrer. And we'll put that aside. And now this hot beaker we're going to take and we're going to put into the autoclave. Now, if we look over here, this instrument that you see in the corner, I'm going to go ahead and walk over to it. This is the autoclave. The autoclave heats things up under pressure. These walls are very thick and they can hold pressure. And inside, the chamber builds up to 121 degrees Celsius. Now, the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So it's well above the boiling point of water. And the only way you can do that is to have it under high pressure. And so this is under 15 pounds of pressure per square inch, 15 psi. And we'll heat it up for 15 minutes. And after that, the media will be sterile. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the autoclave. I'll go ahead and pull the door down. This is what the inside of the autoclave looks like. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put my beaker right inside of the autoclave. So we can see it in there. I'm going to go ahead and shut the door. And we'll run the cycle. And in 15 minutes plus cool down time, we'll go ahead and have a nice fresh beaker of sterile broth, which will be agar. All right, our autoclave is finished, so let's go ahead and open the door. And there's our one lone beaker in the autoclave. We'll go ahead and pull this out of the autoclave. Very hot, boiling. And we'll take it back over to our work area here. Now you want to be sure that the agar has cooled down. First of all, if it's too hot, it will melt the plastic petri dish. And if it's too hot when you pour it, it will also go ahead and make so much condensation on your lid that the condensation can fall in and contaminate your agar. So we've let this cool, and here we have some petri dishes. I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off the petri dish. Now you can always tell which one is the lid because the lid is going to have the wider diameter and the bottom is going to have the higher size. So I'm going to go ahead and take my beaker, see if it's, I can go ahead and hold that. And I'm going to pour it into my plate. Until it covers the bottom. I'll put the lid on it and let that solidify, and you can see the condensation starting to start already. 100 milliliters will make about 4 plates, sometimes 3, depending on how thickly you pour them. So you just pour them in. And here's our last one. Look at that, 4 plates. It's a little extra. Now I'm going to go ahead and give them all a gentle swirl. And the reason you give them a gentle swirl is you want to break up any air bubbles that might be in there. Now agar is like Jell-O in a lot of ways. When it's hot, it is liquid, and so we can go ahead and pour it. But once it cools down to about 40 degrees Celsius, it will turn solid. And so we'll let these plates sit until they turn solid, and then we can go ahead and use them for our environmental sampling project, which we'll be doing next. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.